good morning, Stock Twits crew. Happy Friday, everybody. Oh, the
Song gets me every time.
Stocktoberfest music. I love it.
It
I
gets me every
absolutely
time.
love it. Makes me giggle for sure. That's
Puts me
good
in the
stuff.
mood to drink, and which is far too early for that.
It's way too early, but we'll have our time to drink at Stocktoberfest. So it'll be a good time. Hope everybody's having a good Friday so far. Good morning, good morning. Just taking a look at this market. Another kind of flat in Asia London session, which has been the
hmm
moat lately this week. We haven't had too much movement in the overnight, but it's been a fun week. Michael Nauss, how have things been for you?
It's fantastic. Well, what more could you want than finally some
Drifted,
volatility, right?
yeah.
We feels like we were waiting forever, and the candles are looking kind of weird overlapping, but at least we're getting we got a couple good trend days that as long as you got on the right side of, we're a lot of fun.
Yeah, like you said, volatility coming back a little bit. We got a little bit of a dip yesterday. It's what we get, right? Like that's the most that
That's
we're
it.
gonna get right now. So, yeah, good stuff there. Let's recap some stuff that happened. It was a risk-off Thursday. Stocks slipped while safe alternatives caught a bid. Silver ripped all-time highs above $51 an ounce as gold, oil, Bitcoin, and equities fell. The S&P and Nasdaq briefly tagged new highs intraday before fading amid fresh AI bubble chatter. Which AI bubble, you're always going to hear that buzzword come out, but I don't think you can really use it until we have some actual fear in the market, right, Michael?
Well, and yeah, a couple things, right? Is that it's never the thing people expect that gives us a bear market. It's never that. And then a lot of people start talking about like the Paul Tudor Jones and all of that of what people are starting to get scared of because he said, "Oh, it feels like 1999 out there." It's like, okay, well, I kind of hope it's 1999 because the market went up another 110% after 1999. So I kind of hope these guys are right that it is a bubble, but you're right. You don't a I think just the word bubble makes people think that there's just one day that it all goes away, and it's not. Again, you go back, it's just not the case, right? This took 2 or 3 years of just bleeding in order to come back down. And yeah, it's if everyone says the bubble, I'm way less inclined to think it's actually a bubble.
Agreed. Look at that SPY VWAP, by the way, that me and Michael have been talking about for
hmm
weeks now. It's just beautiful. It's the line in the sand for now,
Yeah,
until we really see otherwise. So love that
yeah. And
look.
any action above that to me is buyable. It's been working all year, and eventually, if it stops working one time, then okay, right?
It will.
You
It will, and we'll
eventually,
change up, but
yeah. I'd rather take the five amazing winner. Like this has been a record year for me. I'd rather just do that over and over again, and then just get you put your hand in the cookie jar one too many times. You get slapped. You take your stop loss. You move on with your day.
Exactly. Um, just some thoughts on the Israel and Hamas stuff. They agreed to ceasefire framework to exchange prisoners and hostages with a proposal backed by the Trump administration. So that's interesting stuff there. I guess it's nice for to bring volatility down a little bit. We talked about silver at all time highs. China export curbs. They had new licensing on rare earth exports, added fuel to the move, and set the table for an XI Trump sit down later this month. So they'll be having another conversation. Um, Winners across the complex, we had CRML up 24.77%. I haven't looked at that, but that
This
was the
is
critical metals that we were talking about before the show.
so. Have you been following this story?
Not really, no.
Oh man, hold on. Just, if the dog's in the office, the dog wants to get out of the office. If the
I've
dog's
seen
out
the
of the
ticker.
office, want to go
I've
in.
seen the
But
ticker a little bit, but I have not been following the story now.
so this on I think Monday fell in just 10 minutes, fell 50%. So I guess the story was people were buying this on kind of rumor and speculation that it was going to be like, what was it, USAR and some of the other things that are getting socialized, right? Getting bought and owned by the government for defensive reason or whatever it is, and everyone got all pumped that this was going to happen, and the thing just rocketed from $8 up to 16, so it doubled. And then right here, a Bloomberg article came out that said, no, we talked to someone in the White House. They don't know what you're talking about. You guys are crazy. So the thing just crashed all the way back down to 50%. And I feel really bad for those people because then as of yesterday, It's just right back up. And as of this morning, it's back up to where it was. And like that to me, I wasn't in this trade, but I feel the pain because you're buying this thing and then you probably do the right thing, which is, okay, the story's over and this thing's telling it hits a stop loss. You move on with your day. And then you only look like 2 to 3 days later and it's back up to this major high. And the chart actually looks great now because that was a huge washout and we're just grinding higher. So I just think it's just a wild story of, speculation and then debunking. And then I wouldn't be shocked if next week come out and actually the government is going to buy it the way they were buying all these other companies.
If that ain't like textbook price action right there, and just like retail getting stopped out like the majority of the time, right? I mean,
Yep.
that's just perfect. And then now what happens, right, Michael? Now people see it ripping like this, and they're like, "Oh, I'll buy it again," and that's right at highs,
Just before
and
the
it's
next
just
one. Yeah.
it's just this never-ending cycle, right? So, yeah, it's tough, and I mean, it's gonna happen, right? You're never gonna get away from that. I think that's something for traders to
Yeah.
understand is you're never gonna get away from that. Even me and Michael that understand that this is going to happen, we will still get caught in this sometimes. So you have to
Mm-hmm.
understand that this is gonna happen, and you kind of just have to suck it up and get through it, right? And
You got to take your
hopefully,
hits.
yeah, hopefully
Yeah.
you're winning more than you're taking hits, right? So, what else we got? We got ALB. This was up 5.25%. S&P 500 leader.
ALB.
This
No
thing's
idea
been
what these guys do.
this thing's been trying to get something going from the lows back into this $100.
Yeah, a little dead cat bounce. Silver, I see on there as well. Ooh-wee. So again, I own silver from this break. I've been waiting for this to do this, but I think it's SL. It's easier to look at the futures.
SLV.
SI.
Oh,
Is
SI.
it? Yeah, SI is the futures. This is, I believe, a new all-time high, or no, very close to it.
Right there.
For silver. So this is going to be interesting because a lot of people, you got a good parallel going on with what happened with gold before its really monster run, right? It looked kind of the exact same where it spent years and years underwater, came back to that high. Now people forget the part where it took another 5 years to finally break out, but I'm interested in the whole silver thing finally catching up. See if there's something crazy that happens here.
Yeah, because we've seen the craziness on gold, and we've seen some great price action on silver. But I'm with you. I don't feel like we've seen that crazy momentum that really gets
Mhm.
people moving. So, we also had TMQ up 3.8%, following a recent U.S. government stake there.
Yeah,
TMQ. Oh
so
boy.
that's more of that government buying. And I think this XME reflects how crazy this trend has been. Look at this from the April lows. So for those who don't know, XME, this is metals and miners ETF. So it takes not just one thing. So it's going to be some gold miners and some silver and some of these rare earth materials and all of this that the government's, getting heavily into. And just to have a ETF, not an individual stock, but an ETF to be up 150% in like
It's
six, eight,
huge.
8 months is just insanity. So just this, I think, is a great picture of this is what's going on. This sector is wild compared, like, it's not quantum computers where at least these are companies that are making things and doing things. So this isn't pure speculation. This is just everyone's trying to pick what's the next company that Trump's going to buy and then try to get involved in that in the future.
Yeah, some interesting stuff there. We got MP as well, materials. That was up 2.41%. What's that looking like? A little consolidation. Kind of quiet, to be honest.
Yeah,
So
because
waiting
this
that
is
next
one.
leg.
This is where they put this is when the government bought into it. So you had that pump, and now this one's just kind of, you're right, just basing out here.
Yeah. What else we got? REMX. Fresh all-time highs on Wednesday.
Yeah, so this is rare. This is a rare earth ETF, right? So this is specifically those, right? For those who don't know, rare earths are not things that are that rare. I don't know why they call it that, but um, they're very important. So like magnets, I know are part of a rare earth mineral. Again, this isn't my forte, but I did a little podcast listening. I listened to odd lots about it. Basically, the problem with a lot of the rare earths is that US doesn't have a ton of it, and it doesn't, and the mining of things like this and lithium and all of that are very dirty and very environmentally problematic, and you just guys up there don't have a lot of it. So a lot of it exists in like Africa and Asia and some South America and all of that. So the fact that these things have become more important, like you could argue lithium now is more important than oil because we can electrify a lot of things, right? Cell phones and laptops and all of this stuff all need these things. And if all of the countries that were at trade wars or real wars and everything are the ones that contain them, it becomes problematic. So that's the argument for the government buying these, is that they need to, for almost defensive reasons, you need to be able to have access to do these things yourself. But that's the idea of why they're going nuts right now, is because until there's like a China deal worked out, what is it going to contain? Some sort of access to these materials? Is it going to contain access to lithium? How does that work? But it's like the new oil rush, these names.
Yeah, it's something to watch and keep an eye on with that lithium stuff. We're getting back into the earnings season slowly. I think, was it this next week we got Delta
Next week, yeah.
reporting? Yeah.
Next week for banks. That's banks are generally the real
Oh no,
kickoff there.
Delta was yesterday. I forgot. We started
Yep.
that off already. So yeah, you're right. Banks are all next week, and then we got Netflix kicking us off. So, in terms of the earnings talk, we had Delta up 4.29%. It beat on profit. Says premium cabins may outsell economy for 2 quarters next year. Forward year
Wow.
margins seen improving. July kick-started stronger cash sales despite shutdown noise. Ops remains solid.
I don't like that reaction though, right? You had a big gap up and then it just
Yeah.
sold all day. You don't like to see that. You want to see it, because we know that gaps are caused generally by retail and things like that. You don't have institutions trading in the pre-market that much, and then it gaps up and then just tanks down immediately. It's not ideal.
Yeah, not a great look. I would imagine that gap gets filled just based
Mm,
off that price action. Generally, I mean, strong gap up on earnings. If anything, you're going to see us just pause and go sideways, or get that continuation kind of gap and go type of price action. So
yeah.
I'm with you. I don't love that look. We have Pepsi report as well. Beat EPS revenue plus 1%. Soft landing tone with 2025 EPS decline now seen at just 0.5%. What's
See,
Pepsi?
that's more of that's a
That's what you
better
want to see.
candle,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Closes right at the high of the day means they were just buying it up all day long. Every dip there, if you go on the intraday chart, you'll just see, right? Every dip gets bought. That's how institutions operate, right? Is they're just give it to me, and take this day with high liquidity in order to do it. A little bit of a dip off the open to scare people, and then just rip it all day. That's more of an ideal of kind of what you're looking to see. So yeah, more of those, less of the delta candles for sure.
Yeah. Let's see what Tilray looks like. They just reported as well, up 22%. Swung to $1.5 million profit versus a $34 million loss year on the year.
Yeah, right. And
Right.
in this environment, any profit, and the fact that you don't need to, if hopefully you won't need to go raise more money, that's huge for the market right now. Is just don't, right. Tell me you're not going to need to raise, because raising either means diluting me as a shareholder, or it means going to the bank at inflated interest rates, and I have to pay for that anyway. So yeah, that's a decent looking candle. A little bit of a selling today. I just try to remind people, because I know there are some people who probably still own this thing from 200, and just it's not going back. If you get to $10, you
Oh
should be
my
really
gosh.
really happy.
I
I know
forgot
there's
that
going to be
this
some
thing was
people
at
pegged to
200
that.
bucks. That's insane.
Three. What was the high? The high was 300 even, and then just completely fell down to 30 cents.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
That's gross.
That's why, and so that's a good example for, we talked about that CRML, about how we are still going to get hit by those things. Me and Jordan, we're still going to take the stop loss, and we'll be real mad about it, but you're still going to do it, so you don't end up being like a Tilray or an AMC guy, or one of these things that are down 99%. You've essentially lost all of your money. You're better off just selling it and harvesting that tax loss for a period of time than holding on. So yeah, it's I feel bad. I just try to remind people that, hey, this is this is probably more of a fair value for it than it was way the heck up here. I think what you're looking for now is maybe that deregulation, and maybe someone comes and buys them for like $6-7, and you're happy there.
We also got APLD. Post-close revenue 64 million versus 35 million year over year. Wider loss, stock up 12% after hours.
Yeah, nice. So huge move in the post market, and then up again in the pre-market and pushing higher. So yeah, a lot of people seem to like this move. Just pay attention, watch this kind of gap that it had overnight here, see if that holds. But nice 20% gain. You have digital in your name, so you're probably good to go.
Yeah. Last one for the earnings names, we had Levi's. That was down 0.49%. Beat on top / bottom line, but cautious forward year guide. EPS high end was $1.32, barely above the street. I was weighing on the shares there. So, down even
Look
more
at
in the
this
pre-market.
long-term chart, right? This is not a fun chart to be an investor in.
There's just no real direction here, you know what I mean? It's never really had a true trend on this bigger time frame, and that's where, for me personally, I mean, again, when we're trading SPY, QQQ, futures on those, we're trading an asset that has forever been trending. And it makes it a lot easier to to find efficiency in price, right? When you're trading something like this, or even something like oil majority of the time, right? Where it's just a consolidation fest. It's like, okay, if there's no higher time frame trend, it's going to be significantly harder to trade this efficiently. So I just have a tough time with these types of names.
Yeah, and this is the kind of thing that you get into because you're saying, okay, you want a 14-cent quarterly dividend, so that's 50 cents a year. So you're getting a couple percentage points just holding it. That's why you would hold a name like this. You're just like, well, I don't think jeans are going anywhere, and right. So I'm just gonna buy it, and it's going to be part of an income bearing or a dividend portfolio or something, right? But you don't trade this in hopes of real capital, because what are they going to do? Like be jeans 2.0? Like they're not going to create anything that's really going to shake up the market. So it's kind of like for people owning Pepsi and Coca-Cola and all that, is you're buying what you think is a nice stable brand that's going to be paying you out, and what you're hoping is that it just doesn't go down and it just continues to pay that dividend, right? So it has a place in some people's portfolio. I just probably not many people that are watching this particular stream.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, not a name I'm buying up, but I'm with you, right? If it's worth it for the dividends, I mean, you sit back, you collect, and like you say, I don't think Levi's are going anywhere. I just don't think they're also innovating super, a ton to really change things around. So, for the audience here, just wanted to remind you guys that the round for Carl Water is closing soon. $2 million was raised, 14,000 reservations there. So, just wanted to put that on your radar if you guys were still looking into that. And as well, we have the Stocktoberfest sponsored by Granite Shares coming up, which I'm going to be at, and a lot of the Wolf team as well. Shout out the Wolf team. We'll be there. Going to be a great time. So I'd love to see some of you guys there, and obviously a great event put on every year, and got Granite Shares sponsoring it this year. So big shout out to that. We appreciate StockTwits putting that on, and going to be a fun time. It's nice that it's in California too this time. I don't have to travel too much. I'm usually going out to New York or Florida or something, and now we're at home. So love that.
These
Michael
nerds,
Nauss, are you gonna make it out, or are you staying in Canada?
I'm actually in Florida.
Oh, are you?
For
You're in
that?
Florida
Yeah,
right now.
doing
Nice.
well, not right now, but
Okay.
for that, I'm doing a presentation there. But
Gotcha.
it's a bummer. I'd rather be I'd rather be here doing this. It seems like, especially if they're going to be playing that intro music the whole time. It
I know,
seems like it's
right?
going to be a lot more fun.
I'm gonna start to get dancing, and my Irish jeans are gonna come out. But
Yeah.
gonna be some fun stuff there for sure. Some other noteworthy pops and drops that we had the past week. Turn Therapeutics was up 370%. The pre-market 26% intraday on public listing. I have not looked at
Ooh.
this.
Oh, so that's
Whoa.
IPO. All right. So I'll just give my normal IPO speech of 80% of the time they undercut the IPO price, which would be right here. So it looks like it's done that both days, but this is yeah, be careful with these. And they're hard to short too. They're hard to find borrows for, but it seems like as soon as people had access to it, they just sold it. So look, if you're trading IPOs, look at things like what's the lockup look like. It's same as almost investigating like meme coins. Who is going to sell and for what reason, right? And right, what's the lockup? When do the shares become available for insiders? Things like that. Because usually they've got a couple weeks to a couple months where insiders aren't allowed to sell, and you get some nice moves there. And then all of a sudden, the guy who invested in this ages ago gets to hit his out button, and that's what usually causes these things to start spiral.
Yeah. We also have Serve Robotics up 28%. They had a DoorDash deal.
Interesting. This has been
That's
a
looking good.
monster from the lows, from $5 to 16. But the long-term chart on this one actually looks really interesting. It's getting up to this $20 range, and that was resistance a couple times here. So plus it's in the hot space, looking robo deliveries and that kind of stuff, which I think is one of those things. We've always seen what's been happening with like Joby and Archer and all those. So it's a good sector, and it's a nice looking little breakout here on the short term.
Been looking good for sure. What else we got? Oh, Klarna. This is a newer one as well. I don't know if you've traded any of this yet, Michael. I
Now,
haven't,
generally,
but
what I'll do is I'll look at these and just pop an anchored VWAP on them. Right, you can see, look, the exact high on this date and the exact high on that date. And these VWAPs, because a lot of time, it's where do you put the VWAP, and that's the complicated part of it. For these, it's real simple because it's just the beginning of the company. So the average investor's price since the beginning of the company is around $45. So if this is something that would interest me, I would just set an alert for this and then say, hey, tell me when it breaks this price, and I'm in.
yeah, exactly. It's so simple. Keep it simple with that anchor VWAP. Lyft was down 6%. Tensor AV rollout. I know Uber was not doing as well as good either. We had Tesla down the past few days as well. All the automakers have really been taking a hit.
Yeah, it's been just the candles for the last week have been very interesting, with a huge down day, then a big up day, and then another pretty big down day. It just feels like consolidation, which I'm going to kind of bet on with the government shutdown. We are in the area where there's no economic reports. We're supposed to have like job numbers and all kinds of cool stuff come out today, and we don't have it. So with no earnings that really we care about, sorry, Delta holders, but and no jobs numbers or no economic data, it's just a perfect recipe for the market to do nothing except trend around intraday. And then next week, when we start to get things like bank earnings and things like that, that's where I think we start to wake up. And then when the government reopens and there's more numbers and everything starting to get report, I think we'll wake up, and that will either cause the next uptrend or the next downtrend. But until then, we're just like light on things that can surprise the market, and that's what the market needs. Is not the thing that everyone's looking at, but something to come out of left field and really kind of shake us out of ranges.
You making any cow sheep bets on how long this government shutdown is going to be?
No, but I saw they had 24 days they were betting,
Something like that, yeah.
and the last one was 35, so seems reasonable to me.
Yeah.
No one seems usually, and it's maybe just because I've got a perfect little bubble where I don't see any news, but I just remember the last one being much angrier. Everyone was like really up in arms about this, and then we just had another one, and away we go. So
Yeah, everybody's kind
I
of chill about it right now.
yeah,
I think it's because the market just continues to hit all-time highs. Nobody cares.
well, and it's eventually, and we saw this under the last Trump administration, is in the beginning, there's a lot of volatility, is, he's saying a lot of wild stuff, and then people just get desensitized to it. They get acclimated to the increased volatility, and that in and of itself just reduces the volatility. And we saw the same thing in April, May, all of this in just nuts And then ever since then, it's been not only a big grind higher, but a very low volatility grind higher. The VIX is at like what, 15?
This whole time, that's what
Yeah.
it's tripping me out. Every asset is ripping at all-time highs, and we just stay stuck at the 1650 every time. It's
Hmm.
I mean, I can't really complain because VIX should be at 12, 13, and that's even worse for us on the day trading side. So I'm not mad about
Yeah.
it, but it's just crazy. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
don't I'm not smart enough to know. I've talked to a bunch of options people and they say it's not affecting it, but I have to think that the zero DTE thing has to be changing the mechanics of the VIX where again, I guess to step back for those who don't know, is the VIX is essentially how many people are buying puts for the next contract expiry on the S&P 500. So just think about it as how many people out there believe that they should be spending money on insurance on their portfolio. And generally speaking, when there's a lot of uncertainty and the market's tanking, that's really, really high. And then, during these periods, it's really, really low. But like Jordan was saying, it should really be lower if you look at kind of historical norms. And so it's more inflated now than it's been before. So more people are actually betting on crashes and corrections now than they did in like 2024 and whatever. And I just, again, for me, the VIX doesn't include those zero DT options. And I'm just thinking if I was a big portfolio manager, I would probably be using more of those than I would the ones that are being measured by the VIX. But I don't know. Again, a lot of smart people that trade options tell me it makes no difference, but I just don't know if I believe them.
Yeah, agreed. I can't believe it because like I don't know. I feel like we see it. We've seen the changes happen in front of us. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? So um, I don't know if you've been looking at gold much, Michael Nauss.
Yeah.
The continued fly has happened there. I know we pulled back a little bit yesterday and actually got some selling, but this monster here, we talked about silver a bit, but this is just where the real momentum has been, and it just hasn't stopped.
Yeah, one thing that's interesting. So I have this. Let me find this chart. I have this chart that I've already marked up for another show here. Just bring this in. So this is the dollar. And the reason the dollar is getting kind of interesting here is the dollar is kind of inverse gold. So we had this big push up. Just do a presenter view. There we go. Had a big push up in the dollar recently. And this down here is the commercials. So the large speculators, the guys I always bet against. It's gross. And they are, kind of the most short that they've ever been. And the reason that's important is because this chart right here. So this top line, this is gold, and this bottom line, this is the dollar. And you can see, right, gold moves higher when the dollar moves lower, and gold moves lower or chops sideways when the dollar moves higher. Right, you can see that kind of pattern over and over again. So I wonder if this particular sell in gold recently was really just because of the dollar. And instead of watching gold for your out, maybe keep an eye here on the dollar and see, because yes, we're bouncing and we're bouncing pretty strong, and there's a lot of people who are short and all of that, but we got a lot of overhead, uh, breakdown. So this is where we broke down from. So there's a lot of resistance in this zone around the 100 even. So if we just bump our head off that and then start to continue lower on the dollar, then I don't know, gold could continue if that's the case. Should be wild.
I mean, I hear 5,000. That's what I hear, Michael.
I It doesn't shock me. I know when it was breaking out, people were saying 2,500 and getting laughed at.
Oh my
And
gosh, I know, right?
yeah,
Oh, you're a
it was,
genius if you were calling that now. Oh gosh.
and that was simply a call just because of the kind of cup and handle look that we had. And if you measured that out, it was 2,500, which was right here. And back when people were calling it sub 2,000, saying that's crazy. That's a huge move. The gold doesn't move that much. It's not going to go up 30%. Then meanwhile, it's like doubled, which is just nuts. So
Yeah, it is crazy.
congrats to Peter Schiff, who was wrong his entire life, but he gets one big win under his belt right now with gold, at least recently, just really outperforming Bitcoin as a whole.
I was just taking a look at INTC. Oh, there's that bell. Let's go. We're gonna get Leah popping in as well.
Oh, sweet.
But just wanted to take a look at INTC real quick because this is one of those basin names we've talked about, Michael Nouse, and she's getting that continuation looking really good. So I don't know. I'm looking at that 40, 50 area. If we can really clear that, I'd love to see
Mhm.
this get into that 45 kind of $50 area. So looking good there. What's up, Leah?
Hi guys, how are
Hey,
you
Leah.
doing? Good
Doing
morning.
good.
I missed you.
I
I
know we
know it's
missed
been a
you.
while.
We didn't see you
Here,
last
I'll
week.
switch over.
Yeah, I was traveling for almost 3 weeks now.
You look tan. Did you go somewhere tropical?
I was in Asia.
Okay.
I was in Japan and then Seattle, and now I'm in actually in Santa Monica.
Oh, very nice. Heck yeah.
Yeah,
We're in California.
yeah,
Let's go.
fun
You're
times.
gonna be at Stocktoberfest, right?
No, I can't
No.
because I have to run to Miami on Sunday. Finally, I need to get home and I won't be coming back. Sadly, I would love to, but I have to know like really like months ahead when it comes to travels because my travel schedule is so packed.
I know you're all
So
good.
sadly, I will miss you all there, but next year, hopefully, I can make it.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking about travel, our friend Gav. I think he took his 46th flight this year, like the other day. So
Damn.
yeah, right. It just the traveling's insane. But
Yeah, I used to
Leah,
travel like that too. It's
yeah,
crazy.
I'd love to see what you were trading this week. If you want to share the
Yes,
screen and
of course,
talk
I will
about some
show you.
setups.
I'm just watching the
So,
bot going a bit wild,
Oh, is the bot
wild
going
here.
wild right
Yeah,
now?
give me a second. It's
The
5
Friday
trades
Open.
already. We're 1 minute
What is
in of
happening? What is
5
Well,
happening?
market's
setups.
ripping
Oh, is it? Oh, great. Okay.
right
Yeah.
into
I'm
the
good. I'm
open.
mostly short. I'm about to serve. We were just talking about serve,
Is
weren't
ripping short?
Yeah.
we?
Well, there's our
That's funny.
market back at the overnight highs. Gosh, let's see if we get new all-time highs again today. Leah, this
Yeah.
market's been insane. All assets at all-time highs right now. I mean, gold, crypto, the markets. What's this telling
Everything.
you right now?
It's very strange because a lot of people are really worried and like don't want to be in the market and it's like oh my god this can keep going up but also we are in a loosening cycle so you know I know like I'm a little bit stressed because I started trading 2020 and 21 the bear market started so I went through like this year and a half when it comes to like the SPACs and small caps and into the bear market it was like over a year and a half that things were selling off but now again that was a tightening cycle so now it's loosening cycles so I think even though the market is high it can go higher in my opinion so it's
Hmm.
just like for us oh my god it's been ripping but yeah we have to look at the conditions right
Well, yeah, and if
what
you
I'm
look at
trading yeah
just if you look at the positioning data and like the sentiment surveys and things like that, people are still mad. So
Yeah,
mad
yeah, well, the
mad about not
AII, the
catching the rip.
investor sentiment just turned bullish. So as long as these guys aren't too
yeah
happy about what's going on, then I think that's great for us. I think it's just more fuel for the fire as things kind of
yeah
grind higher here.
yeah so what I'm trading we allocated some funds into VTOL the vertical drones basically vertical small flying
Do you
planes
want to take
which is
over the screen share there, or do you want me to
yeah
grab it?
sure I can do that what is it
Whatever,
again
whatever
I
you want. It should just
forgot
be
sorry
on the
guys
like below us. Should
oh
be a
yeah
little
here
bar.
Yeah,
share screen all right allow
there we
so
go.
There you go.
so basically we try to trade what President Trump likes and what he's basically supporting and it's
Smart.
crypto and it's
Yeah.
defense but not the traditional defense we are looking for RTX was pretty good this year too but we are looking into new companies like Arcad for example we entered at 1030 because we've seen 50 times greater volatility increase in 50,000% increase in volatility
Wow.
on the option chain last week. So we entered this trade at 1030. We are still in selling off a little bit because there was a resistance at 15, but we're gonna sit in this one for longer term again. I'm looking at all the rare earth that also these are all flying. Like my three picks are USAR, Metsi, and BWXT. But there are a bunch of them, right? The MP was one we traded this year also very successfully on that first run. So this was our trade on MP right here. And now I'm out of MP, but I'm looking at this chop zone here. Once the chop zone is digested and we manage to go higher, I would be a buyer again of this one. I don't like to sit in those chop zones for weeks. I'm a momentum trader. I lose my patience. That's another one. So Riot, we allocated heavy into this one, and it's doing pretty well. That
Riot's
was
been
my
killing
breakout
it.
right here, Riot, and it's
W-
going
They were one
strong.
of the first, like a lot of these miners are doing it now where they're saying, okay, Bitcoin mining's hard, but we have how all this compute, all these GPUs and everything. Let's kind of
Mm-hmm.
do a little
Mm-hmm.
Bitcoin mining, do a little bit of AI stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
it's been working
Mm-hmm.
out. And that's I think one of been the spikes. I see you got Mara up there. I'm really interested in Mara because it's got a huge short float. It's
Yeah, Mara. Yeah, I had thousands and thousands and thousands of shares of this stupid stock. And when we got this spike and we again broke down, I was like, I'm out. Like I honestly was sitting in that stock for like at no like I was in about at $20 average in 1950 20. It's like I
mhm.
have thousands of shares. If this thing goes to $50, I'm really rich. It didn't happen. So here I just sold and now I'm waiting actually because I like this volume getting into the level of 2050. That's the level that it had really or 2150. It had really hard time to break. So I might re-enter this trade actually. And then we are really heavy in bit farms. Some of my guys in the Discord are in since two and dollars $2.50. I'm in a little bit later, but I'm in, which is important. Sorry guys, for some reason I'm freezing here on the screen
No, all
sharing,
good.
but check your chart on BITF Bit
Maybe you bring
Farms.
it up, Michael Nauss.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
got it
please.
here.
This thing has
Yeah,
been
so
doing
There's
great.
that's what we are doing. Crazy stocks. I mean, they are flying these companies, so why not trading the momentum, right?
BITF.
BITI.
BITF.
BITF.
BITF. Okay. Just watching Oscar. Oh yeah, it's ripping this morning.
Oscar is ripping? No, is it?
Well,
Okay,
Oscar's bouncing just a little bit. It's up
because
2%
it
or
fall
so.
really ugly last 2 3 days. I
Yeah, I
was
was getting
checking.
slapped.
Yeah, my system bought a little bit into it yesterday on a
Mm-hmm.
pullback, so that's why I got that on watch. But yeah, WGMI is a great way to track all of these, which is also a funny
Yeah,
name.
that's our
But just
ETF.
look at that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah,
It's very clean break. You take it over 30 and it just rips to 60. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see which of those end up being the winner. It's really smart what a lot of them are doing, like Riot, where they're again. I worked for a Bitcoin miner in 2018 for a
so
while.
that's why they are ripping them because of this. Basically, they're like kind of hybrid miners at this point. No.
You know,
Yeah, that, and I think a lot of them are doing the treasury thing as well that everyone else seems to be doing, where before it was mine a coin, immediately sell it, turn it to cash, right? Try to buy more compute to rinse and repeat. And I think there's a little bit more of like, well, why don't we hold the crypto and try to loan it out? But then, yeah, also like so Riot platforms used to be called
Mm-hmm.
Riot Blockchain, and then they changed their name because they're like, well, again, Bitcoin mining is very hard to do. Uh,
Oh yeah, and
it's
it's
built.
worse and worse because of the the holdings also. So they're losing profits like crazy. But
Yeah,
yeah,
and
this
the
makes
energy
sense though.
prices spiking,
Yeah,
right? Because
yeah,
you're essentially trading energy for Bitcoin, and with energy prices going higher, it's going to get harder to make money doing it. So like, okay, well, let's just be an AI company now as well because we've already got the setup. We just have to change the what we're pointing our GPUs to do, and yeah, that's working out great for them as a nice change of pace.
yeah, yeah. You have to look. You have to reinvent yourself. It was like in COVID, the businesses
Hmm.
that were able to adjust to the lockdowns and they reinvented themselves. They had the money and the means. And as a business, you always have to have some money for the worst time.
Yeah.
As personal as a human as well, right? The people they were ready for COVID and they had some savings, they survived COVID pretty well. But the people they didn't, they of course bankrupted. And the same with the businesses. You're a little bit flexible, a little bit innovative, and you will survive. That's
Hmm.
simple as it is. So I'm glad they are doing it because it looked pretty bleak with them. So
Yes.
yeah, so we are Riot, Bit Farms. It's wow, up 18%, massive gains.
And yeah,
And
Wolf has
Oscar,
been.
actually, I should buy Oscar too. I was looking at it at the breakout 2354. It failed there immediately as it reached that level. So I think this would be a good place. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I'm
I was in
watching it
small
if I can
cups, but
get.
it's just moving too slowly for me. They're grinding higher slowly, but with all these names flying, I'm just like, no, no patience.
Well, and yeah, it's with it did, small caps didn't used to be. They used to be the speculative part of the market, but that stopped a while ago. Where now, if you look through the actual list of the 2000 small cap names, it's just a lot of banks and smaller industrial companies and things like this that are just kind of way more boring than that. So the fun part of the small caps are like biotechs, right? And that I think you can just kind of play by itself, where this
Mm-hmm.
biotech sector has just been rocketing through these highs. So it keeps you away from like the boring parts of small caps, which is like regional banks and things like that you don't really get that explosive move.
Yeah.
By the way, real quick, Tesla and Disney are partnering for a new Tron movie. And they just posted a little video about it where they have like the little Tron character set up on your Tesla and everything. So maybe keep an eye
Oscar,
on
let's
those
see,
names today.
Oscar.
Disney's interesting at these. It's bounced off this kind of 110 area a bunch. It's been a dog.
At
Like,
bottom of that range. Oh, that's a
but
bigger time frame range that we've been in. Kind of similar. It's a little wider than INTC, but kind of similar range as
yeah,
what we've looked at on those names. So like that.
could be again. My old mentor called them basement window trades. And if you're gonna
Like
do
that.
something stupid like jump out the window, might as well be the basement. So if you buy it here, and you put a stop like under 110, put it like 109.50 to give it a little bit of room, and just let it go. Right, and it's
Yeah.
either gonna break out and push back to highs and some. Move from there. But we got to remember what broke Intel out of that range, and it was the government buying it. The socialism. I don't
You need some sort of
foresee the
catalyst.
government
Yeah.
buying this. I don't think
Yeah.
Trump's going to come in and buy Disney, but holding pretty well at the low end of that range anyway.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed that majority of the time, especially on these individual names that might have been, I don't know, a little bit more quieter during this market, is if they're trading towards lows, they really need some sort of catalyst to get them pushing off the lows. It's not just going to be price action for the most part on that bigger time frame. At least that's what I've seen with the individuals. I know it can be a little different for some of the futures and ETFs we trade, but
One, I like when politically charged companies start to do well, because you usually get one side of the world that hates them. Like it's the same with Tesla. When that
yeah,
politician, again, I don't know their name, came out and said, I like to look at, it makes me feel better to look at Tesla stock when it's tanking, and that was the low. And it's kind of the same with this. So I always like these, because you just have a group of the populace who's just not getting involved in something that's ripping because they've got some sort of political preconceived notion. So uh, yeah, it's
Yeah.
same with
I don't
Disney.
like Elon, but I trade Tesla all the time.
yep. You gotta
Honestly,
throw the
I
emotions
get
aside
upset with
sometimes, right?
things, but yeah, I don't care. I trade stuff that Trump's like, so I don't care.
If
I
anything, I
mean,
think like if you don't like somebody, making money off their stock is like a big fuck you.
Well, the
yeah.
so I had a interesting. I was with JC from All Star Charts, who again he's polarizing in his own right, but he was talking back then about oil stocks. This was years ago, and he was saying, right, I want to buy the dirtiest, like give me coal, give me anything that's ruining the environment. And of course, right, he was on stage, and someone came up and asked him about it and said, hey, how do you sleep at night or whatever, was being a real jerk about it. He's like, listen, my job in the market is to make money. He's like, if I make a whole bunch of money, then I can give that money to whatever cause is interesting to me. But he's like, the stock's going to go up regardless of whether or not I'm in it. So,
Yeah.
if you hated Elon, like you were saying, Jordan, make a whole bunch of money off his stock and donate that chunk of that money to stuff that is going to make him mad. That's going to make way more sense than saying, oh, I'm going to short Tesla because I don't like the guy, and then you lose money and he makes
Yeah,
money,
like
and it's
stupid.
like,
Yeah. No,
you know,
that's yeah.
Yeah, it's not what you want right there. That's for
yeah.
sure.
If I would have to short every stock of someone I don't like, then God forbid.
We'd all
You'd
be.
be a perma
They
bear.
will be
Yeah.
short constantly. Oh, Pan also breaking out. I mean, this one
Pan
too.
W.
PNW, yeah.
Yeah,
I
that
had
one's
the
in on a big weekly breakout. I
209
love that.
entry, and now it's chopping a little bit. It's a double inside today. Oh, well, it's not over yet, but
Yeah.
and Amazon is ripping
Cybersecurity?
too.
Is that what this? Okay.
Cybersecurity, yeah. CrowdStrike is a little bit more volatile, but Palo Alto Network, I think, is a little bit more stable for like a longer term. So I like it. Uber is kind of weak. I was
Oh,
looking at that one,
it's
but
weird. We've seen the weakness in Uber and Lyft a little bit. I mean, weakness is relative to the market. It's weakness. It's still holding up great. Nothing's really happened. But I'm with you. It's not. There's no story there right now. It's just quiet.
Mm,
yeah, I don't understand. I was expecting a little move there, but
We are at all-time highs, right? That's all-time highs that we're at on Uber.
yeah.
Isn't?
almost,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, we're in that
Yeah.
range. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. We need some sort of catalyst or something to happen. I
Doesn't
feel
look
like I
good,
haven't
yeah.
seen much happen with Uber or Lyft lately. Michael, you got any thoughts?
No, it's just range bound. I just
Range bound, yeah.
there's so much, like Leah was saying earlier, right? There's just so much going on with robots and AI and quantum computers and space and whatever. I just don't have
Yeah.
any patience to be in a stock that's not moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like Lulu. I hope it's gonna bounce. Just sits there. It, it will
Lulu's
probably
been at
bounce
just
at some point.
this poor stock. I
Yeah.
try and find a spot where it can really bounce, and I try and like be bullish on it, but this poor name just wants to tank. So
160 was the place I was getting in, and I'm sitting there, and it's like and it reminds me of UNH there for a month or two.
Hmm.
But
yeah,
UNH is a
it
different
does.
company, right?
Yeah, completely different. But it's funny when you see the similarities in the chart like that. UNH has been a killer.
It's
We're
good,
in
yeah.
that
It's
second
nice.
gap now. Look at we almost filled or no, that's that first gap. I apologize.
The
I want to see if we get to that next gap that we have, which is much higher. I don't know if we're gonna be able to get there, but it'll be
Yeah, and
interesting.
the difference for
Well,
me,
I want to
while
see.
the reason I was able to buy UNH, but I never buy Lulu, is because the way I look at it is that UNH wasn't going to go to zero.
Yeah.
There's
No,
just no chance. It's just
no
too
chance.
systemically important. Whereas Lulu, they could disappear tomorrow and people would just buy yoga pants somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just
of
not that
course.
big of a
Yeah.
deal.
That's why I'm like, Lulu, it didn't bounce. I gave it a month. I think I'm out. You
Mm.
can't win them all, right?
Yep.
It's like I want a strong stallion leave the stale immediately and run. If it doesn't, it's like okay, boring.
But
Gotta
yeah, in this market, right? If the market starts getting boring, then maybe. But
Yeah,
yeah, in this market,
yeah.
you've got,
In
I
this
think it
market,
was
yeah.
quantum
It's no
computers. Yeah, hit
excuse.
new all time
Yeah,
highs.
that's the thing. You have no excuse to not be performing amazingly in this market. And so
Yeah.
if you're
Yeah,
not, it's just like, well, I don't want to be anywhere
yeah.
near
There
this
is a
name.
problem, really, if
Yeah.
you don't. Yeah,
Well, and it makes them so easy markets to trade is because I give everything a week. All of my swings is I enter them, and then next Monday I just go through my list, and anything that's not up, I just kill, and I use that money to buy something else because you're right. It's like you've got one shot, and you should be going up because right now everything's going up,
yeah,
and
exactly. I agree
yeah,
with you. Yeah, it's just kill them. Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. Or if they go against you, I mean, it's just like really. I use really tight stops lately. I'm
yeah.
just really sick of. I mean, you break out, you go, or if you come back where you came from, then ciao. And
And it
what do you
won't
guys think
always
about
be
this
this fun.
NVO? I got a lot of NVO. I moved a little bit from my entry, like 55 was my entry, and now it's sitting there too. I don't know if I have patience for
Nova
this too.
Nordis. Just trading in that gap. It looks like we probably hit that halfway mark into the gap, which is
Yeah.
always a
Uh,
target for me. But I always look to get over it. It's just I don't know. Generally, you want to see like clear momentum over that 50% retracement, and I feel like I see a lot more rejection here, but you never know. I think you look for that gap fill. We just need some momentum. But Nova
yeah.
Nordis doing great from those lows. I've seen a lot of people trading that recently.
NVO, yeah. No, I did some really good trade on that, and then I got out and I rebought it again, and I mean I'm up nicely, but again, I need things to move. Otherwise, I'm not really a good investor. I'm more a trader. Investing for me, I always try and then I lose my patience.
Yeah.
Know your people, know yourself when you do this job, right?
Yeah. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, right? Maybe you end up just being, an investor in indexes somewhere else that you're not looking at,
Yeah, I have
and then
that. It
focus
literally, I
on.
gave it to someone. I said, please keep this for me until I'm 65. Like,
There's I some of the best traders I know that make, triple digit yearly returns. They still have a financial advisor. And they just
yeah, I
this
do.
is
I,
this is
I
the
do too.
section, like, I don't want you to let me touch this or destroy
Yeah,
this or do
yeah.
something dumb.
Hmm.
Because I think real professional traders know that you're always just you're one bad
I
decision
want the
away
money.
from
The same
ruining it,
thing, like I
right?
was up 190% on RGTI, and I bought this stock on 31st of July. And my basically, I said that in my Discord. I said, guys, look, this is an investment. I want to hold this for 5 years. But if I'm going to be up 100 to 200% or more,
You gotta
I
take
am
that. I
selling
mean,
because
yeah,
that's
yeah,
ridiculous. And I tell you the truth, this year, so many stocks I bought went up 100, 200% or more
Yeah.
in such a short time. I'm like, whoa. So my rational mind is like, dude, take the money. Like, this is, this
Yeah.
is crazy. Just
Well,
think
and
about it. People wait 7 years to have 100% on SPY on average. Like, 3 months? Okay, I'm taking it.
just seeing the rotation, right, from quantum computers, and now we're doing a lot of, like, metals and lithium are going up, and it
And the rare
pays to really
earth.
stay on your feet.
Yeah.
Like, I never thought, so my system bought BTU right there where that line is.
Mm-hmm.
And I just never would in a million years have thought that, BTU, I would have doubled my money on this boring coal type name. So yeah, I do a lot of reminding myself of, you're not a super genius. It's, that you're given this
Yeah.
gift of the market. Make sure you're making as much money as you possibly can in it, and
Yeah.
exiting as soon as you can.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm doing too. Really, I can't. There's at least 10 or 15 names I can name you. I made over 100% on this year, since
Hmm.
basically last November or October. And I do not want to overstay my welcome because, like, coin, for example, that thing flew so fast and I was up so much on that trade. And I just stayed in, and then I took the round trip, right? When we had this massive. So my play was basically the flag pattern on June 18. There's this giant breakout. I got in my entry around 250, 260. 260 was the entry. And suddenly I'm at 440. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? Enough short-term gains. Let me stay in. And I took the round trip, but seems like I'm getting back there. So it's fine. But
Yeah, and then there's a certain
you
amount of
know,
opportunity cost that hits you there,
exactly.
where you're
Yeah.
like, I could have taken my money, I could have had that big wad of cash, and I could either have bought back in if I still like the stock, or I could have, been doing something else with it. Because it's a good problem to have, and it's not a problem that you always have. But in this market, it's efficiency of buying power, I think, is like my biggest issue right now, is because I again, everything's going up. It's not about whether or not you're making money. It's about whether or not you're allocating your money to the best thing, which is why the intolerance for stocks that are not moving is, it's more of just, I could go in tons of places and buy breakouts and pullbacks and make much more
Yeah.
money right
Yeah.
now.
If you
And
know
again,
how. Yeah,
I will end.
exactly. And some people don't know how. So I'm happy for them. They're making money also when they just buy something and sit on that stock for, months, and then it moves, and then they're like, yeah, it's moving. I'm like, you're not a rocket scientist. Everything is fucking moving this year, honestly.
right.
Like, almost everything. Like, it doesn't matter what you buy. Like, anyone can make money this year. So if you're not invested or trade, I think it's such huge loss
Yeah, it's
for
Yeah.
similar to
those
last year,
people.
I wasn't making all that money on options just because I'm some genius options trader. I'll be honest. I was making money on options because everything was flying. Like,
Hmm.
and I was taking advantage of the names I loved on the dips, right? With longer dated contracts. Simple as that. And
But it's
market
good to
kept flying.
recognize it. It's
Absolutely.
good that
Yeah,
you
I know
know
where my
it.
strengths are, right? And where my
Yeah.
weaknesses are.
Yeah.
And trading that type of market is it's phenomenal, but I know that I'm no genius, right? This is what the market's doing right now, and we got to take advantage of it while it's here.
Yeah.
So
You know, honestly, some people do not recognize this and they think they are so great. And, you
Yes.
know, they think they're excellent traders and then they lose all the money. So it's important. I also said, you know, like a couple of weeks ago, I bought a core wave at 98. And next day I wake up and the stock is up 20%. Did I know? No, I got lucky
yeah,
and it's fine. You know,
sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, to be honest.
yeah, I mean, but I recognize it. I said, guys, no, we got lucky. And last week also, what did we buy? Something also was like up 20% overnight. And this guy said, like, how do you know? I'm like, I don't. I just see the setup, I buy it, and then news come in. And, you know, this keeps
Mhm.
Yeah.
happening this year. So I'm like, I didn't know, guys. It's good for us. I said, AMD. Yeah, that was the one. I went on
Oh
that
yes, yeah.
breakout on AMD and it was chopping around 160. I bought it at 160.92. And then next day I woke up and I'm like, what? What? And 2 days, this thing was 230.
Insane.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, guys, so guess what? I'm up 40% on this trade over 2 days. I'm taking my gains. These are not options, these are equities. So,
And
you
it's
know,
important to know all this, and not to be Debbie Downers about it, but it's so that when it stops, we stop and we pull back. And that's what you'll notice with
hmm
pro traders, is that they really
yeah,
know when to add to positions and really go crazy trading, and then
yeah,
they know when to stop. And that's
yeah.
the difference. And that's what
That's a
I'm when
huge
I'm
difference.
talking to newer traders, it's what I'm trying to tell them. So I'm saying, hey, I'm not trying to be a jerk by saying, yeah, you're just getting
Yeah,
lucky, but because the real talent is you're going to give some back when the next bear market starts. It's going to happen.
yeah,
Your
of
goal is
course.
to give back as little as possible, and then to have the wherewithal to kind of take a step back and chill out, so that when the next bull market starts, you still have a whole bunch of capital that you can then apply again. Because most
Yeah,
people just go through this cycle of make a ton of money, leverage right up, and then give it all back, and then make a ton of money and give it all back, and they end up not going anywhere for kind of their entire trading career.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. They wait there for 4 years. I was telling this to those guys in my Discord. Say, guys, when I see like hundreds of people in massive euphoria because they're all printing, I'm just a buzzkill there. I say, guys, this is for me. Like 2 days ago, there was so much euphoria, and I literally write him like, guys, this euphoria in this just in this room, we are making so much money. Like these guys are doubling, tripling their portfolios in last 3 4 months. Like
Yeah.
this is not normal. Just reminding you, please
Hmm.
make sure that you are trailing your stops, that you are having stops because markets go faster down than up. And when this happens, we are all in stocks that are extremely high beta, right? As I said, BTF, Riot, Mara, like we are trading the quantum stocks, we are trading Arcat. Like these are all companies with no like proper income and they gonna fall really, really badly. So suddenly your portfolio, if you're completely invested in this, it's gonna be minus 80%.
Yeah.
And that really sucks. So you don't want to get there. You want to always you know be on the ground and be humble and understanding that you're lucky and yeah, I've been there. It happened to me when I started trading. The same thing. I was
Oh
buying all
yeah,
these
that
horrible
beginner's
companies.
luck.
Yeah, but you know what, if I would have stayed in those massive losses I had in 21, 22 at the beginning, I then dumped everything and realized $500,000 loss. If I would have stayed in those names, I would
I
be
know.
not only back, I would have all my money back, plus I would be up
I've
because
told
I had like,
myself the same thing, Leah. Like
yeah,
I bought so many names when I first started that if I just
oh,
closed the app and forgot that all
yeah,
that existed and came
yeah,
back today, oh
yeah,
gosh, things would
Well,
be
yeah.
did you
things would be
see
great.
I
the
had like
study that Fidelity did on their
the
clients?
dead
Oh
people,
no. What
Yeah,
was
they
the
it?
was
best
they
performing at dead people's accounts.
yeah, they took the whole their whole
Yeah.
segment and they pulled out and they said, okay, these like top 1%, they've made the most money. Let's go look at them. They found that a whole bunch of them were
Mm-hmm.
dead. And that's why they were doing so well. It's like someone
Yeah.
died and just left
It's
the
because
money
you
in the
can't
account
even check it. That's
because
why. So, moral of the
they
story,
couldn't
guys.
check it.
Moral of the story is buy good companies
And
and
Yeah.
don't look at it.
delete your brokerage app from your phone and go live life. That's the moral of the story right there. I
Hmm.
mean,
Honestly, the 5 year portfolio I have that I want to buy a house in Europe, like south of France or Switzerland because I want to move back to Europe next two
That would be
years,
awesome.
maybe earlier. I honestly wouldn't have fuss around with that. I would be up probably 30% more. And so I literally told my husband, I said, you know what? I have great companies there. Here is my password. Change it. And we
Yeah,
look at
I
this
don't want to
account.
know.
Like literally, like take control over this. And we will look at this together in 3 months, every
Yeah.
quarter, like a financial advisor. Do not touch it. I spend hours and weeks structuring this portfolio. And what I do again, like RGTI was there, 200 up. I sold. There's so many of these names. What is RGTI doing? I sold it 44, I think.
Trying to
48.
hold.
So
It's
nothing
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, it keeps going. And 50 was my jacks, like the gamma vol on the options. So that was my kind of target. But yeah, these things can go. I don't know, like IONOQ and that one also. I doubled my money. God, there are so many names.
Yeah.
IONOQ
Well,
is a little bit choppy, but I think.
it's been a great morning, y'all. I think we're gonna
Yeah,
get wrapping
so
up. But Leah,
fun.
always a
Yeah.
pleasure having
Nice
you
to
on,
see
Michael
you guys,
Nauss.
and
Yeah,
we'll
nice
see
to
you
see
now
you.
from Miami next month.
Yeah, we'll see you there.
Yes.
We're gonna get wrapping up for the day, but this market, we'll see if we want to turn around a little bit here. I'm getting a little confluence for a little bit of an intraday
Mm.
short, so maybe we get a little bit more pullback. I don't know, but it's Friday. I've had a decent week so far, nothing too crazy. This whole
Mini
month for
dips.
me has been like mediocre,
Mm.
but
Mhm.
we've still been doing well. And so we'll try and find some opportunity. I'm starting to like these sells a bit more. So we'll see if we can get down to these London session lows, 250 on NQ from last night. And yeah, we'll wrap up this market for the week. So everybody enjoy the weekend. Make sure you're liking and subscribing on the Stock Twits YouTube channel, of course, and take advantage of the Stocktoberfest. I hope to see some of you guys there because the Wolf team is going to be there, and yeah, it's going to be a fun time. So we'll see.